Welcome back to the questions based on jurisprudence. The first question: what is the executive branch? The executive branch is the center of political authority and is responsible for enforcing laws. What was Roscoe's contribution to jurisprudence? Roscoe promoted sociological jurisprudence, emphasizing law's role in a social control and a conflict resolution. How does the executive function in a parliamentary system? The executive or cabinet is composed of members of the legislature and is led by the head of government. How did Thomas Aquinas define law? Thomas Aquinas defines law as a rational ordering of things concerning the common good promulgated by the authority responsible for the community. Give examples of countries with a parliamentary system. The UK, Germany, India, Japan, and Italy. What is the role of the head of state in a parliamentary system? They symbolically enact laws and represent the nation separate from the government. What was Oliver Wendell Holmes' perspective on law? Oliver Wendell Holmes defined law as the prophecies of what the courts will do in fact, and nothing more pretentious. How does sociological jurisprudence view law? Sociological jurisprudence views law as a social institution that must adapt to changing societal needs, balancing individual rights and social interests. Give examples of heads of the state in a parliamentary systems. The Queen of the UK hereditary, the President of Germany appointed, and the President of Austria elected. How does the executive function in a presidential system? The executive is both a head of state and a head of government, separate from the legislature. Give examples of countries with a presidential system. The United States and Brazil. What are key powers of the executive branch? Proposing legislation, leading government policy, managing foreign relations, controlling the military, and overseeing the bureaucracy. What is the significance of jurisprudence in legal studies? Jurisprudence helps legal professionals understand the deeper theoretical foundations of law, guiding interpretation and legal reasoning. How does the executive influence the legislative process in presidential systems? The executive often has veto power over legislation. Why can a change in executive leadership significantly impact government policy? Because the executive controls law enforcement, foreign policy, and major government decisions. What are some alternative careers for law graduates? Legal researchers, corporate counsel, government officials, or working outside the legal field. How did H.L.A. Hart define jurisprudence? H.L.A. Hart defined jurisprudence as the study of legal systems and concepts like rights, duties, and obligations, distinguishing between law as it is, that is positive law, and a law as it ought to be, that is moral standards. What is the natural law theory? Natural law theory argues that law reflects moral and unchangeable laws of nature. What was Immanuel Kant's view on law and morality? Immanuel Kant believed that laws should be chosen as though they were universal laws of nature. What is a standing police force? A standing police force is a permanent organized police service that maintains law and order. Which system did medieval England use to instill fear for maintaining control? Medieval England used travelling criminal courts or assizes with short trials and a public execution. Where were the first modern police likely established? The first modern police were likely in the 17th century Paris during the court of Louis XIV. What does Max Weber argue about the state's control over force? Max Weber argues that the state controls the monopoly on the legitimate use of force. What is a failed state? A failed state is one that cannot implement or enforce policies leading to loss of security and order. What is the origin of the word bureaucracy? The word bureaucracy comes from the French word bureau, that means office, and a Greek word kratos, that means power. How did Jeremy Bentham and John Austin view law's relationship with morality? Jeremy Bentham and John Austin argued for legal positivism, which holds that law is separate from morality. What is the traditional definition of jurisprudence? The traditional definition refers to jurisprudence as the science of law, involving the analysis, interpretation, and application of legal rules. Who was Baron de Grimm, and what did he say about a bureaucracy? Baron de Grimm was a German author who criticized the bureaucracy in 1765, saying it existed more for creating offices than for public benefit. What is a common perception of bureaucracy? Bureaucracy is often seen as inefficient and full of red tape. How did Max Weber define modern bureaucracy? Weber defined it as a system where officials define missions, follow rules, and communicate through writing. What is the primary function of public bureaucracies? Public bureaucracies carry out essential services like schooling, healthcare, and law enforcement. What is the significance of an independent legal profession? An independent legal profession ensures the rule of law and the right to legal assistance in court proceedings. What did the European Court of Human Rights say about the law? The law should be accessible to everyone, and people should be able to foresee its effects. Who typically regulates the legal profession? The legal profession is regulated by a government or independent body like a bar association. What are some common legal qualifications? Bachelor of Laws, that is LLB, Juris Doctor, that means JD, Master of Laws, LLM, and a Doctor of Laws, that is LLD. What role does jurisprudence play in the legal system? It provides a theoretical foundation for interpreting laws, shaping legal systems, and understanding the ethical and social implications of legal norms. Why is jurisprudence considered a multifaceted field? Because it encompasses various schools of thought, including analytical, historical, sociological, and critical approaches addressing law's ethical, social, and philosophical dimensions. What is the purpose of a bar examination? It qualifies law graduates to practice law. What title is often given to distinguished barristers? Esquire is a title of respect for barristers of a greater dignity. What role does legal research play in common law? Legal research helps determine the current state of the law through case law reports and legal periodicals. What are some important skills in legal practice? Drafting documents, negotiations, and alternative dispute resolution or ADR techniques. How does the critical legal studies movement view law? CLS views law as inherently political and shaped by social, economic, and power relations, questioning its objectivity and fairness. Who rejected the principle of equality in law and believed law arises from the will to power? Friedrich Nietzsche. What was Hans Kelsen's contribution to legal theory? Hans Kelsen believed or developed the pure theory of law and introduced the concept of basic norm or ground norm. Why do some developing countries have relaxed legal standards? Due to a shortage of professionally trained legal personnel. Who opposed Kelsen's theory and rejected legal norms as the foundation of law? Carl Schmitt, who advocated for a jurisprudence of the exception. What are the two types of rules in Hart's legal system theory? Primary rules, that means rules of conduct, and secondary rules, that means rules governing the application of primary rules. What is the classical Republican concept of civil society? The classical Republican concept of civil society dates back to philosophers like Hobbes and Locke. How did John Locke define civil society? As people with a common established law and a judicature to resolve disputes. Which German philosopher distinguished between the state and civil society? Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. What was Hegel's view on civil society and the state? Hegel believed they were polar opposites in his dialectic theory of history.